Hi guys, you are watching this video because you are not at our live class from Wednesday, September 30th. The goal for this day is I can write a paragraph about my identity. By the end of watching this video, I hope that you will be able to write a paragraph about your identity. So the first thing we're going to do today is we're going to have a greeting and then we'll have a check-in. Then we will review some information we've learned so far this year. We'll kind of talk about paragraphs, have some practice time, and then it will be work time. So let's get started. So the greeting question for today is, if someone gave you $50, what would you do with it? If someone gave you $50, what would you do with it? Would you save it? Would you spend it on something? What would you buy? I think I would go buy some new clothes or new shoes because I like to go shopping. So now let's do a little check-in. I want to know, how are you doing? Let's think about how we're doing in this class. Do you have any missing work? If you have missing work, what you can do is, if you need any help, come to office hours. I have office hours every single day that we have school from 2:40 to 3 o'clock. That is a great time. You can come in there and I can walk you through and I can literally do the assignment with you. But if you never show up, then we can't do that. I want to know, do you guys have any questions about this class? How are things going? Is it confusing? Is it hard? Is it easy? Is it boring? I want to know. I want to know how's it going. You guys are always able to send me emails, or what's even better is when you come to office hours or live class so that I can talk to you and see how everything is going. So I want to know, did you want to make sure you guys watch the lesson video from yesterday on Tuesday, and that when you watch that, if it made sense. If you have not done that yet, pause this video and go watch yesterday's video first before you watch today's. And then lastly, how did your pre-writing activity go? Your job yesterday was to do some little pre-writing. Remember, pre-writing is what we do before we write. That word pre means before. So we're doing this before we write. So how did it go? So now let's move into our review. So we are reading this book called Where Are You From? In the book, the little girl is asked, where are you from? And she doesn't know how to answer. Maybe you guys have the same feeling. I know I've had that feeling before. So when you're asking, where are you from? She didn't know the answer. So she went to her abuelo, her grandpa, and she asked him, Grandpa, where am I from? And he gives her all of these answers. And all those answers are kind of who she is. She's from all of these experiences that she had in her life that's helped make her her. The word that we're kind of describing there is identity. Your identity is who you are. There's a definition here that kind of the qualities and beliefs and even more that makes a person different from others. But really, when it comes down to it, identity is who you are. I really love this picture. We have lots of different pieces to our identity, like a puzzle. Each piece of the puzzle represents one part of our identity. When we make the puzzle and put it together, we create our whole self. We create all of us. All the different parts of you come together to make you. There's your puzzle pieces, they might be lots of different things, like your job, your personality, your characteristics, what you like, what you don't like, your family, your friends, maybe where you're from and your culture. We have lots of different parts of our identity. So with that yesterday, we talked about identity, and then we talked about our pre-writing. Remember, the word, this pre here, this P-R-E, literally means before. Pre means before. So before, for what? Before writing. So pre-writing. So this is what we do before we write. When we are pre-writing, before we write, we have some steps to do. We need to come up with ideas. What are you going to write about? You need to organize your thoughts and ideas. You need to make a plan before you write. You need to think of, what do I want to write about first? What do I want to write about after that? What do I want to write about last? You make a plan. You have ideas, you organize them, and you make a plan. Yesterday, you filled out a web like this, and you filled in these circles with your ideas. So that's the part of pre-writing we did yesterday. We came up with ideas. So your job yesterday, like I said, was filling in this little circle thing. The middle of your circle said my identity, and you filled in these outside circles with your details. Now that we have these details filled in and we've done our pre-writing, now we're ready for actual writing, right? There's no word in front of it. We're just writing. So we're going to take each of these circles and kind of turn them into a sentence, which we know how to do that. We know how to write a sentence. But now we need to think about, so this is what your paragraph should look like, or your pre-writing should look like. You should have it all filled in. And you have all these details. You kind of have your ideas. But now we're ready to write. But that's kind of like, how do we do that? I want you to write a paragraph. Well, what's a paragraph? How do I write one, right? There's all these things that we need to all make sure that we understand and we're on the same page. So what's a paragraph? A paragraph is when there's a group of sentences together. There's multiple things together. There's multiple sentences, and not just one sentence. Oh, that's it. It's multiple sentences together. But how do you write that? So we have some different parts of it, right? So our paragraph is made up of sentences, and each sentence needs things. Each sentence needs to start with a capital letter. Each sentence needs to end in a period. Each sentence needs to make sense on its own. Remember last week we talked about having a subject and a predicate, which that just means that a sentence has two parts. A sentence only can make sense when it has both parts. If it only has one, it doesn't make sense. For example, if I said ice cream, you'd be like, okay, ice cream? Okay, what are you talking about? But if I said I ate ice cream, you'd be like, okay, yeah, cool, she ate ice cream, right? It has both parts. We have what we're talking about, and then we have what you did or what's going on, right? So just saying ice cream gives us the what, but it doesn't tell us what's going on. We need both parts. And when we have both parts, that's what makes it make sense. So, paragraph, let's review. Paragraphs are made up of sentences. Sentences in your paragraph need capital letters, periods, and they need to make sense. They need to be complete with both parts, right? The who, or the what, and what's happening. Complete idea. And when we have paragraphs, they're not just random sentences. The sentences need to be next to each other. Do you see here in this paragraph? It says, my favorite thing to do is play soccer. We have a period, just one space, and then the next word, right? So then it says, I play soccer every day, period, space, next word, right? And that starts the new sentence. The new sentence says, my favorite soccer team is Real Madrid. You get period, space, new sentence. These are close together. They're next to each other. This is what your paragraph needs to be. Not like this. Not having my favorite thing to do is play soccer. And then you press enter. I play soccer every day. Enter. My favorite team is Real Madrid. Enter. These are not next to each other. Right? These are all kind of on their own. We want them to be together. A paragraph is a group of sentences, and it can only be a group of sentences if the group's together. If the group's all spread out, it's not really a group. And then what makes a paragraph kind of different is that a paragraph is indented. What does this word indented mean? An indent is literally a space. It means space. So to do that is when we have a space in the beginning. So to make a paragraph indented, you press the tab button to indent the first sentence of your paragraph. It creates a space. So here is my iPad keyboard. The tab button is what creates the indent. To find the tab button, find the number 1, and then go down and press tab. It's T-A-B. It's right here. You press it one time. When you press it one time, it moves in a space. Okay? Do you see how this paragraph here, the same paragraph as before about soccer, there has a space. This M, the first word of my, is not right on top of this play. It's not in one line. There's a space here. That's what it should look like. Where here, the my and all these words kind of create a line. They're all together and straight. There's no space. Okay? And then we're going to skip this and talk about it another time. So now we kind of know the parts of our paragraph. What are they? Well, what is a paragraph? A paragraph is a group of sentences. When we have sentences, they need a capital letter. They need a period. They need to make sense and be complete. When a sentence is complete, it has the what and what's happening. When we just have the what or what's happening, it does not make sense. You need both to make sense. So we have our periods. We have our capital letters. We have it making sense. And then our sentences are next to each other. They are next to each other. They're period, space, new sentence. Period, space, new sentence. And then our paragraph, it starts with an indent. There has that little tiny space before we start writing. So now it's time. Let's see what you know by writing a paragraph. So your job for today is you need to write a paragraph about your identity. You're going to use your pre-writing activity and use those details you wrote to come up with what you're going to write about. You need to write 5 to 7 sentences. You need those complete sentences, capital letters, periods, sentences next to each other, and an indent. You'll be doing this on a worksheet in Notability. This worksheet is on Schoology. So here's an example. So let's go back. Let's pretend this isn't here. So I'm you, right? I finished my pre-writing, but what do I do now? Well, the first thing that we need to do is we need an indent. How do I do an indent? I press tab. Do you see how that moved my thing from over here on the side over? It created that space. Press it one time. Now I'm ready to start writing. So what am I writing about again? Oh yeah, I'm writing about my identity, right? That's the thing in the middle. So I'm going to write a sentence kind of about that, just to say what I'm writing about. So I'm going to say, there are many parts of my identity. Period. Okay, so let's check. I've written one sentence. Is it complete? Well, do we have the what and what's happening? So the what is kind of like my identity, and what's happening? Well, there's many parts of it. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Did I have a capital letter? Check. And do I have a period? Check. So now let's write. So I'm going to take one circle from here, and I'm going to use that to write one sentence about that circle. So let's look at this sentence, this circle right here. It says teacher. So I'm going to write a sentence about being a teacher. So I'm going to write, I am a teacher. Perfect. We have a capital letter, we have a period, and we have a complete sentence. Okay, so I have 2 sentences. I need 5 to 7. So let's keep going. Right here, this circle says travel, lover, and adventure. So I'm going to write a sentence about that. I love to travel and have adventures. Okay, so we have the what, I, and what's happening? Well, I love to travel and have adventures. So it makes sense. That's good. I have a capital letter and I have a period. So I'm good. So I need to keep writing. So another part of my identity is my family, and I wrote that on this circle over here. So I'm going to write, my family is important to me, right? And then I have these details. So I'm going to add those in. I am a wife, daughter, and sister. Okay, I'm going to write just one more part of my identity, just so I can make my paragraph a little bit longer. So I also wrote about English and Spanish. So I'm going to write that in my paragraph. I speak English and Spanish, period. So this is what I did. I took my circles, my details from my pre-writing, and I used those details and wrote a sentence about them. And I did that by writing my sentences in a paragraph. So let's double check to make sure I didn't forget anything. So let's look at what my job was. I need 5 to 7 sentences. Okay, so let's count. A good way to count your sentences is you can count kind of how many periods you have. So it makes it quicker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. I have 6, right? Perfect. So that's check. Did I write a paragraph about my identity? Did that. I have 5 to 7 sentences. Now let's check. Well, we know that my sentences are complete. You guys saw me do that. Let's go see. Do I have capital letters? So each sentence is starting with a capital letter. I, my, right? So capital letters, check. Now let's go check for periods. So the end of every sentence is a period. Okay, period, period. Nice, got that done. Now, let's look. Are my sentences next to each other? Yeah, they're next to each other, right? They're in one group together. And then, is there an indent? Let's take a look. Yeah, there's an indent. We can see this space, right? Right here, there's a space. So, I've done everything, right? I did all the parts of my job. This right here, this is what a 4 looks like. A 4 has all of your parts of your job done. This example is on Schoology for you to look at. So now your job is work time. Your work time is so you can finish and do this assignment. This assignment is in Schoology. It is on a worksheet in our Wednesday, September 30th folder. Go to Wednesday, September 30th, click on the My Identity paragraph assignment, and click View Attachments. Then you'll be able to see the worksheet, put that in Notability, write your paragraph, and turn that in. If you have any questions, please come to my office hours. I have them every day from 2:40 to 3 o'clock, and those are times that you can come and get help. Okay? I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope to see you all at office hours soon.